Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Audrey Keller, and with me tonight is the executive producer of Penn State Television's At the Desk, Katherine Schreiner. Thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Of course.
So just for a baseline, what is At the Desk?
So At the Desk is Penn State Network Television's newest show. We cover all things history, crime, and politics. And we are slowly starting to bring some new stuff in. This past week we had a Valentine's Day package that talked about the history of Valentine's Day. And this week we have a Thon package coming up that's talking about the history of Thon, which I actually made. So that's pretty fun. People should tune in for that.
Oh my God, absolutely. And why did you want to start the show?
So me and the politics panel and the crime panel that are features on the show, we started with Nittany Talk. And then Nittany Talk decided that they wanted to go more into an SNL type of show. And we were like, why not make it our own show? So on December 7th, we got approval to make it a show, and it's been a thing ever since.
Oh my God, perfect. And then what was that process of building it? How did it come to fruition?
So it was pretty difficult because we started off with these two concepts, and I just felt like it wasn't enough. I felt like if you were gonna have a show, it needed more to it. So I came up with the idea of adding history to it, and it kind of just built on its own. We spent a month, it was me, Ryan Lowy-Yeyawan, Jackson Tortone, and Tyler McDonald. We just built this show out of absolutely nothing. And our first episode, we filmed a month, and I believe it was like 14 days after we made the show. So after it was approved, only like a month after was the show airing. And that's so cool to me.
Yeah, well, were there any challenges of creating it specifically?
Oh,
just besides the time constraint?
Absolutely. Well, normally when you're making a show, everyone wants to know that you're asking to come on as talent or a studio. Like, what's the time commitment, all that stuff. We didn't know what the time commitment was because, once again, it's a new show. So you're going in not knowing what to expect, and personally for me, I was never a producer before. None of the people who produced the show were producers in the first place. So this was something that was new to all of us. All of our directors had never directed before. A lot of the talent they were either on the panel before or they had never been on a panel. They never got an opportunity to talk about any of these topics before. So this was a whole new process for everyone. So we ran into a few issues with trying to figure out what the format would look like.
And have you figured that out since the start of the show, being a month after you created the idea?
Absolutely. Like, looking back at the episode that was just released on Friday at 5 p.m., check it out, we have been able to figure out what works out well, what we like about each segment, what we don't like, and it's honestly come from the talent and seeing what they're comfortable with and how they bounce off each other. And it's really nice seeing that they're able to work with each other so well.
Are you excited to see how that evolves? How do you think that ATD is going to evolve in the future?
I feel like we have a very strong future ahead of us. I mean, obviously, with award season coming up for PSNTV, I'm pretty hopeful. I think we have some good contenders already. But I think we have so much new stuff coming. I know after spring break, we're planning on adding a lot of new content to the mix. So I think it'll be really cool to see what happens next.
What new content do you think you're going to sprinkle in there?
We're going to be adding in some TV and movie reviews, which sounds like it wouldn't fit in, but it actually fits in really well because TV and movie is such an important part of the history of the U.S. and just culture in general. It's such an important part of how we've evolved as people. But also, there are so many shows that are currently claiming historical accuracy that I think we should debunk. Like, I'm sorry to say, but The Crown is not as accurate as people think it is. And I think we should debunk that next.
Oh my God, that sounds incredible. I can't wait to watch that. So you recently switched from being a secondary education major to coming to the Belisario School for Broadcast Journalism. What made you change?
So actually that's a very funny story. At the end of my freshman year, I was giving a speech to everyone at Nittany Talk. We were going around doing many speeches, and I said, I'm so thankful that I was let in as an education major, and everyone goes, you're not a broadcast journalism major? And I go, no, I haven't been this entire time. everyone thought I was a broadcast journalism major, and then I went home over the summer, and everyone was like, oh my God, how much fun is broadcast? And I go, I'm not a broadcast major. And just everyone in my life was thinking I was a broadcast major. And I just finally realized that, wow, that's something I'm good at. Maybe I should actually do that. Maybe that's the one thing that makes me like really happy. And so making that switch only a month ago was actually like the best decision of my life. I've been so much more happy now in this than I ever was in education.
Oh, I'm so glad. Do you have any sights on what you want to do in the broadcast journalism field?
Well, my plan is to hopefully continue producing. I found so much love and support within it. But being an on-air talent is also something that intrigues me. I do love being in front of a camera. It is where I started with my theater background.
Love, me too.
But, I mean, I'm just waiting to see what comes for me.
And then is it daunting to be a sophomore EP, like leading a show like ATV?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's hard just being kind of thrown into that position, but at the end of the day, I just have to remind myself I was put here for a reason. People picked me for a reason. And everyone who helped put me in this position, I'm so thankful for, because clearly the show's going well, and I love it more than anything. To say that I am one of the creators of the show is the most amazing experience.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm part of it, and I know that the environment is so awesome.
She is a part of it, yeah.
So how can interested students get involved?
Yeah, so all of our socials are available, PSU at the desk on Instagram, and if you're interested, there is the link tree in our bio that has access to the GroupMe, to our other socials, and if you reach out to us through the GroupMe or reach out to me privately on my Instagram or any of my accounts, I'll let you know.
Oh my God, perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and for telling us more about the show and your experiences with it. Stick around, because coming up next, Morgan and Cameron will have the latest news from across the nation.